Hi, my name's Scott the Miniature Maniac, and in this video, we're going to talk about how to make one of these videos. What up, Mini family? Today we're going to peel back the curtain a little bit to discuss something that's debatably on topic. I know I have a few viewers who are interested in making YouTube videos about miniature painting or who already are, and I'd love to discuss with them and those that are curious the things that I've been doing to make videos these last 3 years. First things first, research and development. Most of my videos, this one not included, start with some kind of artistic endeavor. Whether that's painting a model or painting pieces of styrene for a test. One thing I've learned over the years is that even when I think I know everything there is to know about something, I always end up learning and gaining key insights to whatever I'm doing. You need to be observational during this step. Think about what questions someone who has no idea what you're doing might have. Write these things down because you are guaranteed to forget them. Either write it down physically in a field notes book if you want to feel cool, or do it online with something like Google Drive. Next up, the gear. During the R&D process, I often record what I'm doing, and shooting miniature painting is a unique challenge in the world of videography that not many people talk about online. So I've had to kind of figure out what kind of works. Now, I'm certainly not the best at doing it, but here is what I do. I paint miniatures with my elbows on my desk. I like to paint on my elbows because I can have good posture and get my face really close to the miniature. This method unfortunately makes life a lot harder for shooting. It's hard because I have a tendency to move the miniature around and get my head in the way of the camera when I do. The best way to combat this is with a monitor right in front of your face. You need some kind of monitor, whether it's a fancy one like I have or just a regular old computer monitor. Honestly, 9 times out of 10, the computer monitor is just best because it's big. This is going to help you keep framing and keep the miniature in focus, which is crucial. For my camera, I rig it up on a microphone arm that can withstand the weight on a ball head that I flip upside down so the lens is closer to my noggin, giving the viewer a more realistic angle of what I see versus more of a top-down view like I may if I were to rotate the camera the other way. Lastly, to help more with the in and out of focus problems, I tend to record my shots wider than you'd expect with a closed down aperture, and then zoom in later while I'm editing because I shoot on a 4K camera and master my videos in 1080p, meaning I can zoom in 200% and not lose any quality. I explain this much better in this video, so if you're curious about how this works, check it out. If there's anything to take away from this segment, it's 2 things. 1, you need a monitor of some kind to see what you're doing. If you don't have that, you're gonna mess up a ton of footage. And 2, a 4K camera is not just a buzzword. It's actually pretty handy. In the description below, I have links to all the equipment that I use, but please keep in mind that I've been doing this for well over 3 years, even before YouTube. So I've collected a lot of gear over that time, so it might be a little expensive if you're just starting out. Okay, your R&D is done, you got your notes, and now it's time to move on to the scripting, which is very important. This is where you figure out how you want to craft your video. A lot of people would think that it's simple. You just talk about what happened. You can do this, but I think there's a better way about it. Undoubtedly, several unplanned things happened in your process. Pick 1 or 2 of these things to be the villain of your story. I realize that it's super cliche to refer to everything as a story, so let's try out an example. I'm doing a Renegade Night commission right now, and something that isn't going to plan was the amount of time it's taking. I quoted this guy 70 hours, and it took me 50 hours to assemble and convert it. That's kind of a big mistake, so maybe my video can focus around the idea of time management and also quoting longer for projects you are unfamiliar with. The benefit of crafting your video this way is you can focus on 1 or 2 big issues that the audience will remember and take away, as opposed to inundating them with stuff they will likely forget. It also dramatically improves the delivery, the pace, and the engagement of your video if it's scripted. Finally, it keeps people hungry. If every single one of your videos is the same thing over and over again, meaning you share the same info repeatedly, people will know and check out of your content because they know what's coming. Got to keep people guessing a little bit. Another thing I do when I script is I color code it. Blue, specifically dark cornflower blue 1, are lines that are delivered staring at the camera, and voiceover lines are black font. I like to record my voiceover and my monologue at the same time so that the audio quality is identical. It's a minor pet peeve of mine when content creators will have a very distinct difference between their on-camera audio and their off-camera audio. People may think that I include my face in the monologue sequence because I'm maybe a little bit narcissistic, and while that may be true, the real reason is a visual break in the content kind of wakes people up to what you're saying. Oftentimes people can kind of zone out what they're hearing and just watch what's happening. So if you want to direct someone's attention to something or get a big point across, consider cutting the content and showing your face or something similar. All right, script's done, now on to shooting. I often have to reset up my shooting area whenever I do a video. I have 3 lights that I use. One big key light that's soft and bright, a rim light that separates me from the background, and a background light with a gel on it to make it nice and colorful. Pro tip, if you're gonna make a set to shoot on, don't put a bunch of reflective stuff on it like picture frames with glass in them. This reflects the light and creates distracting hotspots. I record audio with a boom pole on a stand framed just out of what the camera can see. Hit record on your audio recorder and your camera, sync clap the two, and you're ready to go. I don't have a teleprompter, I just remember chunks of my script at a time. I feel like that makes me more human, but also bloopers. Visuals to what you're talking about. Garage! Okay, your monologue sequence is shot. Now it's time to shoot your B-roll, as opposed to your A-roll. A-roll footage is the monologue. B-roll is the footage you layer on top of your monologue sequence to hide the cuts in your monologue, but also to add referential visuals to what you're talking about. Remember earlier when we color-coded our script? Well, it isn't only helpful while shooting the monologue, but also for determining what B-roll I need to hide what cuts. Each paragraph is essentially a cut, so earlier when I read through my script, I determined what cuts I wanted to hide and what needed more visual explanation and made a list of all the B-roll I needed. Okay, shooting is done, now it's time to edit. I like to shoot everything and then sit down and not have to get up again. That's why I have kind of a stupid pre-production process. By the way, if you don't know what this is me and John's podcast called Trapped Under Plastic, which is premiering its first 2 episodes on September 23rd. The YouTube channel it's going to come out on is linked right up there in the top right-hand corner, so stay tuned for that. All right, back to the video. There isn't much to say about editing. Find all the takes you like and string them together. Play it back to listen to the cadence of the delivery and then layer on the B-roll. Once your rough edit is looking and feeling good, edit the audio. For me, this is basically compressing the audio, loudness normalizing, and then hard limiting the master track to very close to clipping. After that, I do some very light color correction and toss her in the oven, and that's my whole process. I want to say a couple of things before I let you go. I love making videos because I love the process. I experiment with it a ton. This is the closest thing I have to a step-by-step procedure to making a video, but much like painting miniatures, pretty much every time I make a video, the steps change. Sometimes a little, sometimes a lot. I'm constantly hunting for the perfect way to shoot miniature painting videos for YouTube, which is a riddle I haven't fully solved yet and may never solve, but rest assured, I'll never stop trying. For a lot of reasons, it's good to settle into a rhythm. You get more efficient at the process and it becomes less of a time sink. But for me, I like to mix it up. Lastly, there's a lot of nuance when it comes to being an online content creator in the form of what kind of videos work on YouTube, what thumbnails to use, etc. But all that crap is secondary to making great videos that are educational, entertaining, engaging, and personal. The 3 E's and the 1 P. Everyone knows that, right? The first 3 words are self-explanatory, albeit hard to execute. But that 4th word, personal, what does that mean? I like to put it this way. Imagine you're making content for your closest friends and make jokes like you make with them and act in front of the camera like you act in front of them. No one's gonna attach to a vanilla personality. They wanna know the real you. And that will get you the most haters you've ever had, but it'll also get you the most dedicated fans you've ever had. And that's what makes this whole thing 100% worth it. No fancy camera, no amazing audio recorders or lights or dank ass pre-production processes going to ever replace who you are as a person. So show them that. That's going to do it for this video, guys. If you like this kind of behind the scenes look, I have another video that I referenced earlier. You can find linked in the top right hand corner of the screen. If you like the channel and you want to support it, there's a bunch of ways you can do that. All of them linked down in the description below, namely a Patreon campaign with a bunch of fun rewards where I do share more behind the scenes stuff in a weekly post, but also have a Discord community that is flourishing and wonderful to be a part of. You can also shop on Amazon with my affiliate link and also buy merch like this cool black metal Miniac t-shirt or this hat that says paint more minis. Subscribe or die, but most importantly, don't forget to paint more minis.